Welcome to this TransMissions special interview presentation. We are going to interview the one of the founders, or the main founder and organizer of TFcon, Colin Douglas, and we're going to chat with him about the upcoming convention in Baltimore, October 22nd to 24th, and talk about some details and what's to be expected in the upcoming convention. Welcome to TransMissions once again, Colin.
Thanks for having me.
Right on. So, I don't know about you, but it's been a year or so since we've seen each other. What you been up to?
Well, actually, a lot of nothing compared to what I usually do, because typically my year is planning conventions and toy shows and everything else. I work actually in healthcare. I actually do manage IT support for a hospital. So last year was interesting. I spent most of the year working from home and then working on site a couple of times a week. And beginning of this year, I was back on site at a different hospital Monday to Friday. So surprisingly, I was ready to go back to work. Whole lot of nothing, and a whole lot of hoping that maybe we might be able to plan shows, and then having to cancel shows, and a little bit of disappointment, but it was kind of expected as to what ended up happening. So it's fantastic to finally see this pandemic come to an end, and live events coming back, because I know there's myself included, a lot of people that really miss going to shows and interacting with the fandom. So it's going to be great to see that finally happening again, starting up this fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know we're all really excited for them to get started again, especially TFcon. And I know that when Orlando was canceled, it was a big hit to the system. We were all really hoping. I mean, I wasn't planning on going to that one specifically because it was in Orlando, but it was kind of the first kind of hammer to drop and say, okay, stuff's changing here, and we're gonna have to plan a little differently now.
Yeah, Orlando was a real bummer because my kids were coming down. We were going down to Disney World. Had to explain to them, oh, we can't go now, and they didn't really understand, right? So yeah, that was disappointing. My in-laws were going to come down for the first time to Florida as well, and spend some time there with us. So it was double disappointment in the Douglas house. So we spent 24 hours issuing refunds to everybody. So that was interesting, because our ticketing system didn't have a refund everything option at that point, because there was no expectation that a complete event would just be canceled like that. So it was one by one issuing tickets to attendees and exhibitors. So that was a very long process. So fortunately, my wife was the one that really helped me out with that one. But we were able to get everybody refunded, and hope to return to Florida in the future. I think that's got a lot of potential there. I
think so too.
Yeah, with the Transformers ride and Disney and Universal, it's just a great vacation destination, I think. So I know a lot of people have been asking me, when are you coming back to Florida? It got canceled. We're old. And yes, you are, and we will be back there.
Very cool, yeah, and that's very cool that you're not scrubbing them from the schedule. You're gonna make it up to them at some point, because there's a big Transformers contingent down there for sure.
Yeah, and we really had to. I don't book things like 6 months in advance, right? Like, I've got shows booked into the years into the future right now. You got to plan these things in order to get the space that you want. In the kind of weekends that you want. So people don't really understand, how come you're announcing Baltimore when Orlando was canceled? Well, Baltimore was already booked. So we need to rejig a whole bunch of plans here, and it's coming.
Very cool. So I don't want to spend too much time on the past because it's the past, and we spent an awful lot of time, for our own selves, probably thinking an awful lot about the pandemic and stuff like that. So let's look into the future and talk about Baltimore, because that's what's coming up next. And October 22nd to 24th, we're going to be in Baltimore. I know Charles and myself are planning to be there. We're going to have a really great time, I'm sure. But there's an awful lot of concern about, because we did just come out of a pandemic. What's TFcon going to look like, post pandemic? And that's, one of the main reasons we wanted to get you on, because there's an awful lot of people that are still really on the fence about, do I go? Do I cross the border? Can I cross the border? And people are asking me, and I'm like, well, TFcon is run by Canadians. If they can't cross the border, or if you can't cross the border, they're not crossing the border. So it's it's not going to happen if they can't get across either. But there's a lot of people talking about whether or not it's going to even they can get across, or should they go. What can you say to kind of put some minds at ease, Colin?
Well, in terms of, yeah, there's Canadian and Americans that are involved in it. It's a great big huge effort from an organizational standpoint. Obviously, that's me. So as of July 5th, the Canadian government has changed the rules for traveling. So if you're fully vaccinated, you're able to travel down, get your COVID test. There's an Arrive CAN app, I believe it's called. You upload your vaccination status as well as your COVID test into, and you're supposed to get a test as of right now before you come back. So you go down there, you have a test, and then it's uploaded into that way. You don't have to do the quarantine. So they did away with the quarantine. What it's going to look like because things are changing so much. Every few weeks, things are changing. So we can't predict what the status and whether or not you're still going to have to do tests by come October. If we do, we do, right? But the deal with there's no issue with being able to go down. Coming up to Canada for the US is another story right now. The border hasn't been reopened. So we're still waiting for that. And we do have TFcon Toronto scheduled for the mid-December, 10th to 12th. So right. We're hoping that they're anticipating there's talk of the border reopening for vaccinated Americans to come into Canada later this summer. They're really taking baby steps when it comes to the border. The first step was allowing Canadians to come back in without having to quarantine. And again, I think that's going to change. Next step sounds like it's going to be Americans coming into Canada that are vaccinated. But the expectation will probably be that they'll have to show no COVID tests as well. So basically, when you fly into one way or the other, if you're coming into an airport, my understanding is that you take a test right there at the airport. Mm-hmm. So, and again, this is just the way it is right now. They're just starting the process. We don't even know if you're fully vaccinated, whether or not you're even going to need to have a test by the time this fall comes, right? And if it is, that'll be the way that it is. In terms of people coming to the convention, I know that there's a huge pent-up demand for it, because when we put tickets on sale, the first 24 hours, we sold 3 times more tickets than any other convention. It was insane. Wow. So conventions are definitely back. It's going to be a well-attended show. So if any vendors I know are kind of wondering, what's it going to be like in a post-pandemic world? And I've talked to other people that are involved in conventions in different areas throughout North America, and it's like record numbers right now. People are having like some of their best shows, just because it's been, well, for TFcon, it's going to be 2 years since the last TFcon when Baltimore happens, right?
Yeah. As we record this, New York Comic Con just put their tickets online, and I've been seeing so many friends that normally get tickets no problem, and they were just shut out because it just went so fast.
Oh yeah, the demand is great, and we're not going to stuff people in there either. There is going to be a capacity, and if we have to have a wait until somebody leaves before you have to go in situation, then that's what we'll do, because we want to make sure that we're doing things right. There is a it's regular capacity. I'm not sure exactly. I've got a meeting with the hotel tomorrow, actually, just to clarify what the status is for Baltimore City and mask at the moment. I think it might have changed. I'm not sure yet, but that's going to be an individual decision whether or not people feel comfortable wearing a mask or not. That's going to be a personal decision, and I'm sure there will be a lot of Transformers themed Autobot or Soundwave type masks there anyway. I think that they'll probably be our new norm for Transformers conventions.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, and yeah, I think we're all going to be kind of used to seeing people with masks everywhere. The post office, the supermarket, and I don't foresee, even when the policies go away, I don't think we're going to really, stop seeing them for a while.
We have some great ones that people want to buy.
Yeah, we made some too. So if you've got, if I know that you were working really hard to get people refunds after the Orlando cancellation. I know that there were some vendors that were transferred from last year's TFcon to Baltimore. Are you still in the process of working with some people to if they're maybe not willing to go to Baltimore, if they're good to either get a refund or go to another convention, or is there still stuff like that that's still kind of being ironed out for either vendors or artists?
No, pretty much everybody. There was only a couple of people that actually wanted to get refunds because I think that a lot of the people that come to, say, they would have come to Chicago versus coming to Baltimore, because we originally had scheduled a Chicago show last year, but obviously that was canceled because there was no vaccination in place. But the most of the people that had registered at that point just chose to push over to Baltimore this year. There was actually very minimal people requesting refunds, and I think a lot of them are repeat vendors. So depending on what location we're at, it's the distance between Chicago to Baltimore. It's a lot of the same people are going to travel to those areas, I think. So that's probably why we saw most of those people just decide to stick with it for this year.
Somebody wanted to get in on the interview.
Apparently my dogs think somebody's at the door. Hey,
that's just the world we live in.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not the first time your dog's interrupted a chat online, eh?
Yeah. I just got back from my parents, and I thought they'd be tired out because they're playing with my parents' dog, but apparently not.
Nope. That's okay.
Yeah.
Jeremy's dog's interrupted us a number of times, so it's not a big deal. So looking towards Baltimore and beyond, I mean, we talked and you mentioned about capacities, and you're gonna like everything that happened with COVID, it's all very liquid. Like what you said today could be different tomorrow, could be different in a week, and we really don't want to nail anything down as being this is the way things are going to be, because you don't know. And we're talking about a convention in October, and you can't plan for October in July. You can just kind of put those out there and say, this is what we're hoping to have happen. And, if it works, it works. If we got to change, then we got to be able to roll with it. So I've never been to the Baltimore hotel that you're planning at. What do you, there he is.
Well, this is the other one. This is the baby.
Oh, okay. What's the hotel like? Describe it for us. Has it got a nice feel to it? A restaurant? What's
Yeah, it's actually a very big hotel. It's got where we're at. There's an open space, and you can see down below where there's kind of like a alcove where, say, like the Chosen Prime would be parked or something like that. It's right next to Camden Yards, a baseball field, which is really cool. There's like some little statues and stuff out there. So it's a really nice location. Downtown Baltimore is and it's also next to the convention center. Downtown Harbor Baltimore is actually really, really nice. So it's a really nice, lots of nice restaurants around and everything. All these hotels are typically they've got restaurants and bars and whatever. Everything that you would need, but there's the nice thing is there's so many different food areas, different restaurants, and I always enjoy trying different places when we travel to the different cities, so you can experience a new city, experience some new food and new specialties and stuff.
Mm-hmm. What was that restaurant, guys, in Chicago we tried with the German pub?
Oh, that place is fantastic. Oh, yeah. Love that place. Oh, we go there every year. We go there every year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was fantastic! What an atmosphere.
Yeah, one of the best places in Chicago. And it's nice, short walk from the hotel. It's so good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we go there every year.
They have one of those in Pittsburgh too. You're thinking about TFcon Pittsburgh.
Now I am.
There you go. Charles gets his little plug in there. Hey, TFcon London, Ontario.
Like a little mini con.
Too close. So the one thing that's kind of come up, and I've just kind of talked about it, and Jeremy and I have talked about it a little bit over the last year, is the meet and greets with the voice actors and stuff, and how a lot of them, especially the G1 guys, not super young anymore. So are anything? Do you foresee any kind of changes to the meet and greets? Maybe maybe not shaking their hands or giving them hugs for the next little while. Kind of.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be an individual choice by our guests, right? That's a discussion we'll be having with them, and it's going to be a particular level of comfort, I think, for people. Mm-hmm. So as time goes on, like all these guys are vaccinated, so I don't think there's too much of a concern there, but it's still going to be a situation where it's going to be a comfort level thing, and maybe try not to give them a kiss on the
mouth. All right, I'll
if you can
keep my different. Oh, it's tough. It's tough. They're idols of mine. So what?
Daryl's just really affectionate.
Yeah,
I've experienced that.
Well, I guess I want to ask about guests, and I know that we're going to talk about, you announced Hal Rael coming to TFcon Baltimore. We haven't really talked about it on the show yet because it was announced last week. As a personal favor, we'd love it if you announced your guests on Sunday so that we could talk about them on the show, because Monday morning we just get scooped by everybody and we have to wait a whole week to talk about it. But that's just us. But we'd love to ask about guests. The one thing is that we wanted to ask, do you think we'll ever see the return of the TFcon specific exclusive? That's one thing that has in years has kind of died off, and you've gone more towards the the vendors bringing their own exclusives through the manufacturers. I miss the days of Shafter, and and there are other characters and stuff. You did the GoBot homages and stuff like that. Those were great. And do you ever think that you'll come back to that or something similar?
It's definitely possible. Like the sponsorship agreements, partnership agreements that we have with those guys those guys have a really great relationship with those manufacturers, right? And I felt that they were able to provide such fantastic exclusives when we started having those conversations, that I thought that really them doing it, that's going to give us a more quality exclusive than what we were previously doing. A lot has changed over the years, though. Back when we started doing like a powered commander add-on, like for classics Optimus Prime, like it's been over 10 years since we've been doing exclusives, right? And it was 2007, I think, was our very first third-party mini G2 slag, world's smallest transformer slag, right? So it's been a long time, and the whole scene has evolved multiple times since then. We were just having a discussion about Shafter the other day, how kind of want to do something to bring them back into the forefront again, because those kind of jokes, I think, are kind of fun, and it is a part of TFcon history. So I don't know that we end up doing large runs or something, but if we can end up doing something where it makes sense for the convention and the fans, then I'd definitely be open to it.
Right on. That's cool. Little small runs, and the fandom who's really into it are really into it, and they love that kind of stuff, but I don't have to tell you that, you know that. Let's just end on a little future watch, where we've been talking about Baltimore, and that's really exciting, and I know that a lot of us are all really looking forward to that. But you have announced Toronto, which you've already kind of talked about, and that's in December, mid-December. That's a different one for you. You usually do run a show, not TFcon, but post TFcon, or sorry, post Christmas. You'll run a I can't remember which one you call it. It's like Ontario
Collectors. Yeah.
In January, and that's always a fun one if the weather allows me to go. So that's always fun. But this will be probably one of the first ones you run pre-Christmas. Does that give you any kind of hesitation that this is 2 weeks before Christmas?
No, because I think that, like I was saying earlier, there's a huge demand for conventions, and I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, thanks for doing everything you can to make the show happen this year. It's been so long since we've had TFcon in Toronto." Like, this is going to be, next year is going to be the 20th anniversary of TFcon. Cool. So it started in the GTA, and we want to if we can do it, we wanted to try to do it. It's going to be a very busy fall. I'm going to be running shows every month. So, and then Toronto, it may be a little bit different than usual. We'll see. But I know that we have a really rabid fan base that have been coming to the convention in Toronto for so many years, and we'd really like to see that happen, even if it means doing it at a different time of year. Maybe we'll just have to be wearing TFcon toques instead. Yeah.
Well, these fall shows you're running, what are they? When are they? So I know I can probably guess one of them, but I don't know the other ones.
The 80s Toy Expo is October 3rd. Then we've got Baltimore, October 22nd to 24th. There's a Star Wars Expo November 7th. And then we'll actually be doing another one-day show at the end of November is the plan. I can't remember which Sunday that is, but it's the end of November, Mississauga Collectors Expo then. That date just hasn't really been put out there yet because we're still planning for the 80s Toy Expo. And then, and of course, TFcon Toronto, which you mentioned. And then into January, we've got the Ontario Collectors Con the end of January. So, yeah, and then I'll take 1 month off, and then we'll end up going
south.
And we've got TFcon Los Angeles coming back, which I'm pretty excited about because that was a really fun and fantastic show with 50 guests from Transformers Media at that one. It's
that's the one I wanted to end on. Is that you had announced this Los Angeles show coming back, and none of us here went to the show, and we all, after seeing it, we're like, damn it, we missed out on something pretty big on this one.
Yeah. So we're definitely planning. There's a lot of Transformer related people that live in the area. You maybe see a little bit of a repeat in terms of some guests that you might have missed back in 2019, but working to bring in a lot of different people that you haven't seen at a TFcon before and may not have really been in the convention circuit much at all. So look for those announcements later this year. And we're looking to have a very similar level of guest lineup, and if we're lucky, then we'll have some big surprises for that one.
That's very cool. I think we're tentatively planning on going to that, I think, right now. Charles?
What? I got the surprise that you planned it on my birthday, so that's
well, no problem.
That gives
buddy.
Me incentive.
You have to go then.
Yeah.
That's right.
What better place to be at your birthday than at a convention in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you bring back Arthur Berghart, who adopted him the last time he was in Toronto, then he'll be reunited with his long lost father.
Arthur's definitely a character. Great
guy. So this is all very exciting. There's a lot of conventions coming back. We're all really super stoked about it. I'm just really happy about it. I'm glad that, to hear that everyone's kind of taking some kind of, at least there's some wherewithal and some thought that's going into what's happening in Baltimore, and steps are being considered for, the days and the time that we're living in right now. Because it's relatively over, but there's still stuff out there, right? So we got to kind of still think about it a bit.
Yeah, we're very, very, very fortunate in North America to be in the state that we're in. Things are really, really good here compared to a lot of the world. So very fortunate to be born where we were.
Exactly. And we can
worry
about Transformers now. Yeah. So is there anything that you may have wanted to tease us or something like that? I don't know. I'm digging for something right now, I think.
Well, how about it is the anniversary of Beast Wars, so we're definitely going to need another Beast Wars voice actor, won't we?
Yeah,
I think so. And being an old school guy, we definitely need to celebrate the anniversary of Transformers the movie as well. So I think we probably need another G1 guy as well.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
We'll make that happen for you then.
As a personal favor to Daryl.
Yeah, as a personal. But he has to promise no tongue kissing the next time we see each other.
You were the voice actor.
Well, Depends on the voice actor.
It's not Daryl's fault that he's so irresistible.
And I'm also working on somebody that's never been to a TFcon before, so I'm hoping that one comes through. And I don't know if she's actually been to a Transformers convention in North America at all. So I'm hoping that she's interested. A little bit different from what we've had before, but I think it'd be pretty cool for people to meet her and hear her story. So we'll see what happens.
That's very cool. I love when you guys find somebody that's just kind of everyone's almost essentially forgotten about, and you guys find them. I still tell people about the you finding the voice of Crasher.
Yes.
I think she was working in a library, and you found.
Actually, see, who works in the library actually is Morgan, the voice of Baroness.
Morgan Lofting.
She's actually a librarian.
Oh,
What?
Yeah, so she's got the glasses and everything for it. But Marilyn Lightstone, she actually worked in radio. She works in radio in Toronto. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So, and there's people where I know like a lot of people were really surprised when we got the voice of Scorponok and Fortress Maximus, Stephen Keener. Super nice guy. Fortress Maximus was the toy that I always wished that I saw in stores growing up, and I never did. And I always loved the fourth season of G1 because it was new, and I was always, as a kid, I always thought, oh, what could happen afterwards with these characters, right? So I found out that start researching into who did the voices. I'm like, oh, this guy did a lot of voices in that last season, and nobody seems to be able to find him. And I'm just really happy that we're able to. And he was so thankful. He had no idea that people still cared about Transformers, and how people would come up and say, oh, you know, what you did meant so much to me and everything. He had no idea. And it was like just a fantastic experience. He was so thankful that we're able to bring him out to the show, and he was able to have that experience in his life, because he was just almost in tears how fantastic it was for him.
That's nice. Yeah. That reminds me, I'm sure we've probably asked you this in the past, but is there still anybody that you have yet to find and you'd love to bring to a show?
Yeah, it's kind of like minor characters that are people that have done G1, and I know they're around, but either it's hard to convince them to want to do something. But I do have a short list of people that I am actively working on. And then there's also some other one or two other big names that I know people would go crazy for if we're able to get them in and do a signing for a TFcon. So that's always in the works as well. It just depends on how we can make it make sense for them and for us. So yeah, I've always got that list that I'm working at, and the nice thing is with Los Angeles 2019, we're able to bring in so many people for their first ever anywhere convention, right? First ever signings for a lot of people, and I know that a lot of those people I kind of want to one in particular I want to start bringing to like the East Coast and Toronto and stuff for more people to meet, right? So we kind of, the whole point when we decided to do the Los Angeles show, it's great for like you guys to a great destination point as well, but we kind of want to bring the TFcon experience to the West Coast as well, right?
Sure.
A lot of people on the East Coast have been able to travel to TFcon for a long time, and so a lot of people say, when are you going to come to the West Coast? Well, why do you hate Florida? Well, we don't hate Florida. We love Florida. Sorry, California. California's fantastic, right? So I was just happy we're finally able to make that happen. and it was fantastic, greatly successful show for everybody, great fun for everybody. So we're really happy to be able to do it again.
I'm sure for the guests that live, like the voice actors and that live in LA, just being able to stay at home and just drive in, it's a great enticement.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And the nice thing is I've got developed a long lasting relationship with so many of the actors. When I mentioned it to them, they're like, oh yeah, we're in. So it wasn't a hard sell for the majority of the people that we've worked with in the past. It was just kind of convincing people like the voice of Alita 1 and G1, for example, to come and do her first ever convention experience, right? So we're really happy we're able to do those, convince those people to come out and they can kind of experience that thing that Stephen Keener was able to experience for the first time when we brought him in for his first ever convention experience.
That's very cool. So yeah, we're very much looking forward to all of these shows. And yeah, I mean, the Los Angeles show is definitely on our bucket list now to get to. Yeah, I'm glad that you were able to join us tonight and really give us some extra excitement for the Baltimore show. We're all really looking forward to it. Sorry, Jeremy and Epic. I know you're not coming, but we're going to make you feel bad for not being there. That's for sure.
There's still time to change your mind, too.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got to be in San Francisco for a wedding in September. So going from one coast to the other in a matter of a couple months, not feasible.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
But she didn't say no.
That's it. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, so thank you again, Colin, for joining us tonight. We're very thankful that you did and giving us a lot more detail that will hopefully put some minds at ease about attending the convention post COVID.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.